I'm Staff Sergeant Grant. I'm currently located at Vance Air Force Base, but I'm actually only here for a few more months. And then I'm headed up to Thule Air Force Base up in Greenland. I'm a personnelist by trade, so I mostly work in the MPF and CSSs. Right now, I'm mainly dealing with the new MyFSS systems, my eval, my deck, a lot of decorations, evaluations, that kind of stuff. So most of my job right now, at least, is kind of the center of people's careers, where instead of like in processing and out processing, I'm everything in between, whether it's training, like I said, evaluations, decorations, pretty much everything once you get on station after that and before you out process, that's me. My gamer tag right now is Hidden Death 66502. The reasoning behind the name is I'm actually a huge fan of the Assassin's Creed games. That's not where I started, but I was actually played Assassin's Creed Brotherhood a lot, and I actually held one of the top 20 spots for their online game. The actually player versus player aspect, I played it a lot in high school, and I actually was, if I remember right, the number 8 player for like a couple weeks, which was pretty cool to say, for a high schooler. And it wasn't the big online game, but for me, it was cool. Going back to the beginning, would have to be the PlayStation 1. Spyro and Crash were my big introductions into games, and I absolutely just fell in love with them. Even, back then, the stories were huge for the time, right? When a game was only a megabyte and fit on one disc instead of two. Even to this day, I'm still a fan of PlayStation. I firmly hold the belief that PlayStation by far has the best single player story driven games, hands down. I don't even think many people would contest me on that, to be honest. The Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, and all those amazing games that are winning, awards across the board. For me, a game it has to catch your interest and keep you there. And you don't necessarily doesn't have to be at the forefront, right? Like a lot of FromSoft games, especially, the recent game of year, Elden Ring, most of the stories in the background, in the little details that you really have to dig for, but there's still substance to that. There's the big boss fights, min-maxing your character to make sure that you can do as much damage or play to your style the best possible. For me, though, the story is everything. My number one game to this day, hands down, is the first Last of Us game. That story captured me from the moments I entered into it. I always say it's the best, worst opening ever because it immediately captures you. It's to this day the only game that has genuinely made me cry over fictional characters. So for me, Air Force Gaming was kind of just an introduction and a chance for me to kind of branch out and reach new people and see if, maybe I could play with some different people other than my usual crew. But I've also been going through the process of learning how to cast games and learning to voice act and all that kind of stuff. And I probably sound insane for this. I love a good essay, like a detailed essay of just people being passionate about what they like. Kind of a no-brainer when I saw the post for like, hey, we're trying to bring people in to do like reviews and help us do all this stuff. It was a no-brainer for me. I knew I wanted to do one, and when God of War Ragnarok was just still kind of around the corner, so I was like, I want to do an introduction for people who haven't played the game yet, right?
With God of War Ragnarok right around the corner, possibly already out by the time you see this, many people are wondering why everyone is so excited to see the continuation of the story of Kratos.
Kind of solidified for me as an amazing game when I saw the complete transition of Kratos, right? From this hulking monster that was known to be too angry to die to this calm, well-mannered, and patient man. A friend of mine actually showed me an opening scene. It's actually my favorite scene in the game, where Baldur, who we know as the mysterious stranger at the time, punches Kratos up into the air and slams him back down to the ground. And you're like, oh crap, I knew I had to do the review on that just because the shocking transition of it made it stand out on its own, right? So it was basically saying like, hey, we're taking this IP, but we're making it completely different and we're upgrading it to the max. I actually didn't join originally at first because I thought it was just some people throwing some games together and just saying like, hey, if you're in the Air Force, we're gonna get together and do stuff. And then I got an email from my public affairs office saying, hey, we need a new ambassador for the gaming league. Our current one is transitioning out. And I said, shoot, I'll do it. And I threw my name in the hat, and it was myself and a fellow NCO of mine, Sergeant Elsom. And we both showed up, and he was like, well, one of you can take it. And I was like, can we both do it? Why not? And he was like, sure, why not? So we both took the mantle, and we both love similar games. She's very much a Legend of Zelda fan. So she's all in the Nintendo scene, Super Smash Brothers. She also does a lot of Final Fantasy 14. We made it so that I can, kind of advertise for Vance while she puts stuff together because she's much more technical than I am. So she basically sets everything up. I advertise. We've put a couple tournaments together since then. We can't host as much as we would like because we don't get our funding from MWR. All our stuff is contracted out. We don't get to do as much, but we do what we can when we can. For me specifically, I've gotten a lot of opportunities to further my professional career, not in the military, but outside of it, like the God of War review kind of helped me get an idea of my voice and how I like to do things. It's also given me good feedback of what I can improve on. And it's also given me the opportunity to kind of branch out, right? So like I had never done reviews before. I don't know how to video edit. I don't know how to edit audio just yet. I'm actually going to school for that now. So it's given me an opportunity to really focus on what I like to do and how I want to move forward once I get out of the Air Force. I've taken it as an opportunity to progress not just myself, but my future. I had the opportunity to go to the DoD esports tournament. I got this at ForceCon 2022 back in May, where the Air Force crushed all the other branches. Sorry, guys. Sorry, not sorry. I was lucky enough. My leadership was like, hey, you guys are our ambassadors. It's only a couple hours south of us. You guys should go. And so we did. And not only did we have a good time, I got to meet the professional casters that were there. I got to meet a lot of the teams. I got to hang out with the actual production company that was there that put it together and kind of see how they do things. I don't think I'd ever manage to be part of the esports teams because I can't play first-person shooters to save my life, but I could definitely help out in the background and make sure that the production is good to go. So I don't need to be in the spotlight to have fun. Whether you're, brand new airman or you're a colonel and up, there's an opportunity out there for everybody. It's easy to look on the outside and go, oh, well, they can do that because they practice all day. Yeah, and that's because they love what they do. If you genuinely love what you're doing, whether it's on the esports side, the audio side, the video side, there's something to do for everybody in an environment like this, especially such a welcoming one. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there and try something. You never know what you're going to find and what you're going to fall in love with.